energy, impulse, power, propulsion, strength, catalyst, acceleration, lash, movement, pressure, pulsation, vibration, effort, full head of steam, horsepower, muscle, steam, speed, stress, tension, velocity, drive, beat, bump, push, pulse, rush, shove, stroke, surge, thrust, punch, and force are all synonyms for one word. What is that word? Say it loud. Momentum. How many of you in your life have had seasons where you felt like everything you did just got you stuck? Ever been there? Every time you tried something new, you failed at it. It didn't work. Every time you stepped out in faith, you felt like it didn't go the way you wanted. Anybody been there? Maybe you're in your life, a place in your life right now where you're kind of stuck or you feel like you're in a rut. And what do you wish that you had? You wish that you had momentum. Because I bet there's also been seasons in your life and seasons in your company, if you're a business owner, or seasons in the organization that you work for where you felt like you could do no wrong. Remember that season? Everything you did went right. Every time you wanted something to go a certain way, you gave it to God, and it's like He just came through every time, and things just kept going the way you wanted them to go, and you had this incredible momentum. If you're running an organization, the right people started getting on the bus, and all of a sudden you started having this momentum in your company, and sales would start to go up, and new customers would come in, and you get really excited about it, right? But here's the reality. Most of our life, we spend these seasons, don't we? This ebb and flow when things go right and when things go wrong. But here's the difference that momentum can make in your life. Because when we define momentum, you can't have momentum without obstacles. You can't have momentum if there's not friction, if there's not something pushing against you, because that's what momentum is. Listen to this definition for momentum. Strength or force gained by motion or a series of events, even in the midst of resistance. See, you're always going to face resistance. We're facing resistance right now. What is pulling you right now? What is this earthly thing that we're all experiencing? It's called gravity, right? All of you are feeling this force. By the way, I'm down to 253, and I save 15% on my car insurance. So anyway, it's okay. It's good, right? So I feel 2 pounds less resistance right now than I did when I shot that video. All of life is resistant. There's always going to be things pushing against you. But here's what momentum does. Momentum gives you the power, the energy, the force to do what? To push through. It took an amazing amount of energy from us guys to get 48,000 pounds moving. I mean, if you do the math, it's actually pretty impressive that just 5 of us can move that, right? But here's what I've learned. I've tried to play Superman in my life at times. You ever been there? Where I wanted to do something alone. I wanted to make something happen. But in my pride and in my flesh, my struggle was that at the end of the day, it was all about me. Because here's what I know about us. See, I don't just want to be great. I want everybody else around me to think I'm great. And so we get into this performance mentality, and we try to play Superman or Superwoman, and we try to do these things on our own, and it's exhausting. My knee is still sore from trying to push that dead gum 48,000-pound fire truck. But you know what? When I had those other guys come in and we began to push that, all of a sudden this thing that was harder than I could have imagined, that really wasn't possible for me to move more than a few inches, if at all, it really became this enjoyment. I mean, I'm on video and I'm pushing this thing with one hand. I mean, it was fun at that point. Now, how do you want to go through life? You want to go through life where you got to fight for everything and you got to do everything alone. You feel like it's all on you. And at the end of the day, you don't have anybody to share the struggles with. You don't have anybody to share the burdens with. You don't have anybody to be honest with and transparent with, because there's no safe people in your life where you can be free and open. Or would you like to take the risk of community? Because that's what it is. You know, when I marry people, one of my favorite things to do is to do weddings. I love weddings. because funerals are, not near as fun. But weddings are fun. It's celebration. You see the love in their eyes, and then I get to destroy all their fairy tales. That's like the best part. Oh, you love him? Oh, you just wait. And so I tell them, and I've changed my entire ceremony. I'll look at him and I say, do you know that this is the woman that God's put in your life to break you with? And I don't tell them that I'm going to do this. So they're just like looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? And I'll look at her and say, you know what? You think he's this Prince Charming, he's amazing. Did you know, young lady, that this is the man God's brought into your life to break you with? How many of you have been married or married right now? Can I get an agreement? Do you agree with? Yeah. Any broken people in here? Let me tell you, nothing will break you and challenge you and humble you like marriage will. You know what community is? It's sort of like a marriage. It's a risk. But here's what I've learned. It's a risk worth taking. It's a risk worth taking. And the possibilities of what could be are so much greater when you take the risk to let another human being into your life. You can't have safety and security and privacy and avoid pain and have community. You can't. The only way you're going to have community is if you accept the risk, you accept the baggage, you embrace the messiness of relationships and people, because people are messy. If you'll embrace it, then you can experience community. But in order to have community, you also got to take the pain that comes with it. And what I've learned is that great community is worth the pain that it causes. It's worth it. A great marriage is worth the pain that it causes. So what do you want in your life? Or is it that you need to let people in today? What is that thing in your life, that obstacle that is just hammering you, that's burying you? What is that thing that you're trying so hard to muscle up and push and move on your own, and you're not really getting anywhere? And even if you could, so here's the other scenario. If I could have pushed that 48,000-pound fire engine all the way across that station floor, it would have destroyed the whole illustration. I couldn't have shown the video, right? And guess who would have gotten all the glory? Just me, right? And that's not even as good or as fun. Because here's what I've learned. You see, when something goes wrong as a leader, that's my fault. That's on me. If you're in leadership, when something goes wrong and whatever it is that you're leading, that's on you. When something goes right, you did it. When something goes great, we did it together. See, even your accomplishments are better when you experience them in community. And look how much more can become real in your life when you humble yourself, accept your limitations, accept your brokenness, embrace your weaknesses, and invite people into your life to become a part of this greater purpose, this bigger vision about what God has for all of us. So today we start this brand new series called Momentum, where we have an opportunity to do even more good. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited and nervous and terrified all at the same time about God, what God wants to do with us together. And I'm excited about how God's going to use this in your life and how many things in your life that you keep trying to tackle alone that God's going to bring you freedom in and give you the strength and the courage to let other people in to help you with so that you can have amazing results in your own life. You can have incredible spiritual growth in your own life. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to the back now, and we've got a 2,000-pound boulder in the back. You see it? It's right there. It's right there in the back. And we had this thing brought here. Just huge thank you to Tony Webb for getting this here. Jason Truelove for getting this thing on a platform that Jason built himself. He's like an engineer or something. And the platform will hold 4,000 pounds, so it's safe, okay? And so this boulder is going to represent our spiritual initiative, this vision that we have for the next 2 years. So what I want for some of you to do, if you want to join me, I want to get a couple of you, a couple of guys, a couple of girls to get back here with me, okay? And we're gonna push this boulder, all right? Attaboy, Ben. See, you see this right here? How much do you weigh, Ben? Like 30 pounds? I don't know. Look at this kid. Look at this. You see, this is what's amazing about a child. You see this? This is why we all need to go back to our roots, because you know what you used to believe when you were Ben's size? You could do anything. He didn't hesitate. He came back here ready to push this boulder because he knew that we were going to be helping him. So come over here. All right, you know what, Ben? You want to have a little fun this morning? Yeah. All right, I want you to get on the boulder. You're going to ride the boulder, baby. Just sit down right there. Hold on to both sides, okay? This is very safe. Where's my elders at? Is our insurance up to date? Okay, just making sure. All right, so this boulder, this boulder represents whatever that is in your life. Some of you have come this morning, and somebody really close to you is no longer on this earth, and you're grieving, and you're hurting, and you need momentum. You need strength. You need community to push through. Some of you have lost your job. Some of you are going through a divorce, have been through a divorce. Some of you are single moms raising kids on your own. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I'm having a hard time raising my own kids with my wife helping me. And so we need each other. You can't do this alone. And God never intended for you to do life alone. So we're going to get on this boulder and let this boulder represent that thing in your life that's holding you back. That thing in your life that you need to apply force to. Here's what, you guys know this guy, Mr. Newton? The guy, you remember Newton and Newton's law of motion? What's the first law of motion? Anybody know? Any object, Johnny? What he said. One day, I'm gonna be as smart as you. You're amazing. Okay. That's right, Johnny. You nailed it. One day, we're all going to be working for you at your company. Any object at rest will remain at rest until what? Until force is applied. There is something for you to do. You do have responsibility. If you're grieving, you got to embrace the pain. You got to give yourself freedom to grieve. If you're hurting, you got to go there. But if you want to get better, if you want to move forward, you have to apply force. You have to take that step. If you want to receive Jesus Christ, if you want God in your life, then you have to take a step of faith. There is something for you to do, but God does the spiritual, supernatural in you and through you and around you, but He's waiting for you to take the step. For some of you, you've been holding back. Some of you are waiting to have all your questions answered before you will finally become a Christ follower and trust the living God with your very soul. I love what Augustine said. Augustine said that where reason drowns, faith must swim. Reason will get you a long way, but at some point, you have to take a step of faith and trust. You cannot experience a relationship with God without some level, even if it's a mustard seed, some level of faith. So let this represent that thing in your life. Okay, guys, everybody get on the boulder, get on the platform. We're going to go forward just a couple of feet here, okay? This thing, with the platform too, it's over 2,000 pounds, okay? Now, there's a lot of us on it, so don't go crazy. We're going to plow through that gentleman right there in front of us. And he don't want 2,000 pounds in his lap, okay? Neither does his lovely person next to him. Okay, here we go. On three. 1, 2, 3, apply force. Boom, there it is right there. Okay, stop. That's amazing. That was awesome. Mr. Ben, how was that ride? Awesome. So you didn't want it to end, did you? Jump down. Who told you to get up there? Go sit down. So I want to share with you, you guys got a brochure when you came in about this vision, about where we're going to the next 2 years. So let's look at that right now, and let's get some clarity on exactly what it is that we believe God is calling us to do. Here's the thing that we want to remember is this, Galatians 6:9. Paul wrote this letter to the church in Galatia, and this was it was a new church, a new group of believers that were new Christ followers, and already they were facing opposition. They were facing incredible resistance, and then Paul gives them this. He says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good, but at just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't what? If we don't give up. You know, one of the things that I've learned most in leadership is this, that the secret, here's the secret to leadership. You ready? All you have to do is not quit. That's all you got to do. You know what the secret to marriage is? It's real easy. Here it is. Just don't quit. That's all you got to do. Just don't give up on it. Just don't quit. Now, there are reasons. There are a few reasons, very strong reasons, where divorce is permissible. I understand that. But for most people in most situations, that's not it. It's just about you not giving up. Here's what I've learned. If I walked away from my wife every time that we were in the worst, you remember what the reverend said, the pastor said when you got married? He said to love each other for better or for worse. If I walked away from that every time it got worse, then guess what I would miss? I would never miss the opportunity for the better. And here's what I've experienced in my life and in my marriage, that every time I hung in the worst moments, God brought us back to the better. But if you walk away every time it's worse, or you walk away for good when it's worse, then you're saying no to any possibility of better. And you'll never experience the better because you quit, because you gave up. You see that? When it comes to leadership in general, if you're leading an organization, you're leading a company, you're leading a group of people, the second it gets hard and you think you don't have anything left and you think that you need to throw in the towel and you think that this was a bad idea and you just need to quit, usually that's the moment right before things are going to get better. How many times have people walked away from good things and they miss the harvest? They miss the results that were just on the other side, that were just about to come. If it had just hung in, if they'd have made one more phone call, if it stayed one more week, God was going to do something, but He wanted you to trust Him. He wanted you to come to the end of yourself, to the end of your resource, to the end of your intelligence, to the end of your experience, to the end of your knowledge, so that you would trust Him, and then He was going to show up. But He never did, because you gave up at the end of your resources, and when you embraced your limitations, you quit, and then you missed what God could do because you quit too soon. And I believe that these people, we can't even imagine what they must have been facing, and persecution and turmoil and hatred coming at them as new Christians in a world where Christianity was hated, where people were trying to destroy it. When you were baptized in the context that the Bible was written in, you put a bounty on your head. They had baptism out in rivers and ponds and public places, and when somebody followed Christ in baptism when the Bible was written, there were these people out and around, it was almost like jihad back then, where there were these terrorists waiting out, and the second that you came out of that water, they made a mark. They looked at you and knew your name, and then they would pursue you and assassinate you. That's what it meant, and that's what it means to follow Christ. See, God wants to know, will you trust Him with your very life? Because when they were baptized, when the Bible was written, they weren't just embracing a religion. They were embracing a person that just might cost them their very life. Boy, that's a game changer, isn't it? So here's what God wants to know. Do you love Him enough to not give up? Do you love Him enough to trust Him with your very life? Do you love Him enough to trust Him with your marriage? Anybody raising teenagers? Do you love Him enough to trust Him with your teenagers? Right? Because we love our teenagers, don't we? Oh, we just love, I just want to squeeze them to death. No, I'm just kidding, right? Right? We'll all get these seasons we're in. And Paul gives us this word. Well, we will reap a harvest of blessing. And what's the big secret? If we what? Just don't give up. Just stay in the game. That may be all you need to do. So we believe this is what God has for us. And we start with our world here. It says this. We want to begin a new partnership with Rahab's Rope to an amazing mission opportunity in Bangalore, India. This is led by Vicky and David. And I'm going to be interviewing Vicky at the end of the service. And Vicky would love to talk with you more afterwards if you want to know more about it. But we're going to begin a new partnership with them where we support them financially and with hands-on support. Some of us are going to be going to India in the next year or so to experience this and be a part of this. But we want to give attack to the demonic warfare, to the spiritual warfare that's going on in India where these women are in sex slavery. And we want to be a part of their rescue. I don't know if you know this, but one of the biggest hubs of human trafficking and sex slavery, one of the biggest hubs for that is right here at the world's largest airport in your back door, in my back door in Atlanta. Some of you may not know, you need to know that. And so if we are the church, and the church is a movement, and we exist to make a difference in the world, well then we need to be making a difference. And so we want to partner with them because we believe them and love them, and they have a great history and a past that can be trusted of this mission. And then there's Help One Now. Help One Now is a ministry where they reach out to these local villages in different parts of the world, and they feed these children and these moms. Because here's what we've learned. Here's the dirty little secret of orphanages that you might not know. That many of these orphanages, and not all of them, but many of them have caught on to the fact that there's this thing called tourism. And you know what Americans love to do? Americans love to go on a mission trip, and they love to go to an orphanage and hold a little kid and get their picture taken, and then they love to make a donation because it makes them feel really good inside, okay? And that's not a bad thing unless you're doing that for the wrong reasons. And so what have the leaders of these orphanages realized, right? The pride in their flesh has come out, and they see an opportunity to make more of this. And so they're going around to these villages, and they're getting these moms. The fathers died, but the mom's still alive. And they talk to this mom and say, hey, listen, you just need to go ahead and give us your kid. Let us take him to the orphanage, and we'll get him a good home, and it'll be so much better. And if the mom just had a little bit of help, just a little bit of help, she could make it, and she wants to make it. She wants to keep her child. The last thing she wants to do is give that child up to an orphanage. But they're manipulated into doing so. And so Help One Now comes in, and they offer these programs where they will give them a little bit of help so that that child can stay with their family and be raised indigenously right there where they want to be and have life and opportunity. And so we love helping Help One Now. We did a yard sale for orphans here, and 100% of that money went to support them. We want to continue doing that. Compassion International. Compassion International is an international ministry that I've seen at the ground level. A couple years ago, I went to Uganda and Kenya and went on the ground with Compassion International. You know what I love about Compassion? Compassion has one of the best track records in the world of nonprofit organizations. They are among the 1 percentile of integrity organizations in the world. And so here's how they run the organization. Only 20% of everything that comes into Compassion International goes to overhead. Only 20% goes to pay the staff and expenses and all that. 80% of the bottom line through Compassion International goes straight to that child to feed them, clothe them, and educate them. And so we are a compassion church. I don't know if you noticed on the wall when you came into the lobby, there is the world that we've painted onto the wall. And we've got these little push pins, and we push on there where we're having impact, where the gospel, where the good news of Christ is going into the world, and where our kids live, that we have sponsored. So maybe God's been pushing you towards adoption. You're freaking out and you're scared. I got a story. I said no to God for a year about adoption before I did that. But you know what we did before that? We sponsored a child. We sponsor a little girl now named Carolise. And we got a new picture of her this week. She's beautiful. I just want to go I want to go see her now. It costs us $38 a month. $38 a month to clothe, feed, share the good news of Christ with her, and educate this little girl, and give her a greater chance and opportunity to give her momentum in her life. $38 a month. I mean, that's like one latte at Starbucks, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and the joy that we get from that. And you want to disciple your kids? Sponsor a child. Are your kids being selfish and individualistic? Anybody here got kids like that? Man, I have preachers' kids. They're perfect. You know what they need to see? They need to see the world. They need to see that there's more to life than them. And one of the ways you can disciple your own kids is to sponsor a child and let them be a part of that process and watch her grow. It's a beautiful thing. So we want to keep doing that. So we're going to focus on that some today, and I'm going to interview Miss Vicki a little bit later. And then our community. People have started referring to us, oh, that's that adoption church. I'll take that every day. The problem is, I just thought that every church was supposed to be for adoption. I don't know, maybe it's just me, because last time I read James 1:27, it said what? It said, pure and undefiled religion is this, that we take care of the orphans and the widows in the times of their distress. What good is any of this if we don't make an impact in somebody's life? Then who are we? What are we? What are we doing? I don't know about you, but I don't have time for religion, especially bad religion. But I've got time for a movement of God that He has started in us that has a history called the church. We get to be a part of that. And so we want to keep helping people foster and adopt. Right now in Hall County, if you live in Hall County, would you raise your hand? If you are a resident in Hall County, then this is on us. We are currently, literally, shipping our own kids out of our own county because we don't have enough families willing to open up their home to foster a child who is in turmoil, who is coming out of a drug-addicted, abusive home that just needs a safe place to land for a season until CASA can get them more hope. Shame on us. Shame on the church. And we wonder why the church isn't growing. Because people want to know, what good is it? Is that all those people do? Is show up at a facility, sing a few songs, and raise their hands like they're better than everybody else? Then why are these kids being shipped out of our own county? Why? You have an opportunity to create momentum. And you know what? I get it. I get it. I was there. I'm preaching at me because for a year I said no. I said no to God. As a full-time pastor, I wonder, sometimes I wonder why I even still exist. Why He didn't just take me out and get me out of the way. You know what my biggest struggle is? Is why He still lets me live for all the times that I said no to Him and to His vision and to His will. Never underestimate the grace and the patience of God, because you wouldn't be sitting here right now if He wasn't a God of grace and mercy and patience. This earth wouldn't still exist if God was not patient and loving. Trust me, you don't want me or you to be God, because we'd already wiped us all out. But not God. Thank God He's not like us. And you have an opportunity to make a difference. And then there's CASA, who comes in and gives wisdom and support to make sure these kids are cared for. There's Rahab's Rope, which is the store on the square where they They have this jewelry from these ladies in India who are in sex slavery and making this jewelry so they can make a living and get back into society and be rescued from that demonic atmosphere that they're in. So here's one thing you could do. Go do some Christmas shopping at Rahab's Rope on the square this year and support that economy to give these women a chance. And then there's Beautiful Feet, a local ministry right here. Did you know that Gainesville has well, there's kids in here. I can't go PG-13, but did you know that Gainesville has a bad place, a bad bar in town? Anyway, Beautiful Feet wants to rescue these women here local and help them make a living in a different way. Do you think that the local church should be making an impact there, making a difference there? I think so. And then there's In His Name. This is hands-on support that we want to give to these places. And then there's Motocross FCA. This one is close to us because Alan is here this morning, and we're going to, next Sunday, guess what I'm going to do next Sunday? Guess what I get to do next Sunday? Right, Alan? I get to ride a dirt bike. I know. What are you wiping sweat for, man? Next Sunday, I'm going to ride a dirt bike on campus. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to highlight Alan and his ministry. I love this man. And I see Alan and his family as one of the first people that we've sent from Journey. And it's a great story. And Alan has started this brand new ministry that didn't exist before. And then there's New Name Counseling. I am a product of New Name Counseling. I went to counseling as a burned out pastor about 4 years ago now, about to quit everything and about to go bad. Things were going to go bad if I didn't get help, okay? And I went to New Name Counseling in Dawsonville, Georgia, and man, God rescued me there. And we have embraced that. How many of you are at New Name or have gone to New Name before? Would you raise your hand with me this morning? Awesome. Thank you for that courage. You know what I think? I think you're all messed up and you all need to go to counseling. Yeah, that's what I think. And so we want to support them. And then our church, okay? We put us last because when we planted Journey Church, we planted this with a mindset that it's about the kingdom. It's about the kingdom. And we have always given to other ministries and to the big picture, right? To the big church, right? From the very beginning. Even when we couldn't afford to do it, we still gave from the beginning. And so our church is last. We have a growing staff. Have you guys enjoyed Billy Buchanan leading us on Sunday mornings? You enjoyed that? You guys like that? We want to continue to support Billy. And we want to bring Billy on more like full-time next year. We're still not giving him what he's worth. We want to start him off with a decent salary next year and take care of him. I want to take care of Lauren. I don't know if you guys have seen Lauren Kovalchik around here, but trust me, the woman is an animal, okay? She works so hard. It's amazing how much she loves you, how much she loves this mission, and how much she wants to reach more people and see more lives change. And I want to take care of her. And then there's Samantha that you'd never see. She's this quiet, timid woman, and she adjusts those glasses, and guess what? Our finances are amazing because of her leadership. Because behind the scenes, she makes sure that everything's legitimate, that we are above reproach. And she has the intelligence and the wisdom and the history and the experience to make that happen. But we're paying her pennies, and I want to take better care of her. And then guess what? You might not have known this, but this facility, it's just a tool, okay? The second that me or you or anybody starts worshiping this place, please somebody burn it to the ground, okay? You with me? Don't take it that far. But anyway, you get my point, right? Because that's not where this is going to go. We've been leasing this property from our mother church that launched us 2 years ago as Journey Church, Lanier Hills Church. We wouldn't exist and be here if it wasn't for another like-minded, kingdom-minded leader and body of Christ under Randall Popham in Lanier Hills. This church plant exists because of their love and leadership and generosity and humility because they want to see the kingdom grow too. 800 churches a year are closing their doors. 800 a year are closing their doors. Do you think we need more church plants? Do you think our country needs more? And I'm not talking about church how we used to do it, or church that was about a holy huddle, or church that was all about the insiders and not about the world and the outside. I'm talking about a church that makes a difference in the world. Do we need more of those? That's the kind of church we want to be. And so we're gonna purchase this land and facility, 10 acres, almost 10 acres, with a 30,000 square foot facility that we have no business being in. God made this happen. It's a whole nother story. And now we have an opportunity to purchase it, and my nose is running, and I like this shirt. Can I get a Kleenex? And then also, we need to add more HVAC. Y'all are amazing. Like 3 people. Okay, can I have a salted caramel latte? Make it. And after the service, I want a ribeye. Y'all are incredible. And then we need to add more HVAC. Have you guys appreciated and enjoyed the 10 new tons of HVAC that we added last year in the summer? You made it happen, okay? God provided it, but your generosity made it happen. And then we want to continue to improve the facilities. If you're new here at Journey, this is a fixer-upper. You know what I love about it? So am I. We got these rocks up front. Billy, as you guys come on back up here, we got these rocks that Billy got for us. I love Billy. He's so creative. And I love hanging out with Billy. We're like 2 middle schoolers with beards. I know, it's scary. And he got us these rocks, and Miss Anita gave me this one this morning because it was broken. And I love what that represents in life. Because the truth is, we try to pretend like we got it all together. But in reality, we're really broken. The only difference are the people that find the courage and the humility to just say that out loud. And then there are those that continue the exhausting journey, I guess you could say, or trail or something of trying to maintain an image that just isn't real. And we want to protect that culture that God's given us here at Journey. That we're not afraid to be transparent. We're not afraid to be vulnerable. We're not afraid to say that we're broken, that we're messy. But you know what that does? That creates community. And God takes that kind of honesty and sincerity, and that's where He starts putting us back together. So if you want to be a part of that culture, if you want to be a part of a community like that, it's not perfect. God knows it's not perfect. If you want to go to a perfect church, no. Don't go to a perfect church because you'll mess it up. Leave it alone. It doesn't exist. So if you want to be a part of momentum, if you want to embrace this 2-year vision, if you want to hold nothing back in your life and in the kingdom, and you want to make a difference and move forward, then we've got these rocks for you that say momentum on them. And at the bottom it says, hold nothing back. And for some of you, this could be a powerful spiritual symbol of the changes you're going to make in your life today. For some of you, this could be the first time that you take a step towards God and receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And He becomes the rock. He becomes the foundation of your life. This may be the moment where you finally stop trying to do it all by yourself and all alone. And you humble yourself. And it's so scary. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. But I'm telling you, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. So if you want to be a part of momentum, then all you have to do this morning to take that next step is to come forward. Take one of these rocks. If you want to take a moment and just pray right here, whatever that is in your life, you have the freedom to do that. If I can minister to you personally, then I'm always over here to the side. But I don't want to get in you. I don't want to get between you and God, okay? I'm just a helper here. But you can go straight to God on your own through Jesus Christ. But I'm always here to serve you if you need me. Would you stand? Would you stand this morning? And will you respond? And will you come and take a rock and create momentum as we move forward? Let this rock represent the boulder. The boulder represents the 2-year vision that God has for Journey called momentum. Will you be the one that holds nothing back?